It was 10 years ago on a night just like this when we watched the San Juan del Sur finale, and it sounded just like this.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
Yeah. I guess time to get the idol out of the bag.
Tough to get the idol out of the bag.
So I was gonna play this for myself tonight, but idols are more fun when you play them for somebody else. Jacqueline, did you vote for who I told you to vote for? I'm playing this for Jack.
Okay.
Oh,
yes.
she said the thing!
Rob Cesternino back here with Josh Wigler. Wow. Josh, how are you?
Oh, my God. Pumping my fist so you know how to find me, and so thrilled to be here at the San Juan del Sur finale, Rob. 10 years greater.
Yeah, what a night where we watched the
finale. What a night. What a
3-hour, one-part finale. Can you believe it?
I can barely believe it. I can barely believe it, Rob. We had a lot of action to take care of in this episode, and yet we had time for check-ins at the live reunion.
Yep.
We had time for a reward challenge. We were able to do a lot in just a fairly limited amount of time.
Yeah, they got a lot in and a lot to unpack as we watched Natalie Anderson become the 28th different person to win Survivor at this point. Yeah. Okay, a winner of season 29.
You'd say they were two different Sandras, but you'd be wrong.
Yes, of San Juan del Sur. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing quite well. Very bittersweet to get to the end of the road once more on San Juan del Sur, Rob. I have enjoyed going back and watching the 29th season of Survivor, living 10 years in the past, as the majority of my on-air Survivor experience has been delightful, I have to say. But it's bitter because I imagine, Rob, why will I watch San Juan del Sur again for quite some time? You know, like this is really it. Like, I don't think I'll check back in on it for another 10 years, probably. So we finished talking about it today. I put it back on the shelf and we say, see you in a decade.
Yeah.
Hope we're still here.
Well, we'll see. But you know what? Every time I rewatch a season of Survivor, I feel like that. And then, you know what? I keep getting older. They keep staying the same age. We keep going back.
It's true. We do keep going back. That's what they're there on the shelf for. And San Juan del Sur, very rewarding. How did you feel going back and watching the finale, Rob? And what are your finale memories of the finale of Survivor San Juan del Sur?
Yeah, you know what? I don't remember too much about the actual finale night. I remember being at my house, being at my apartment for that one. But I don't remember a lot from that particular night. And I'm looking forward to seeing what our San Juan del Surrogates had to say about the podcasting that night. Josh, do you have any recollection of the after party that I don't even remember if I attended?
Absolutely not. I'm certain that I attended, and I'm positive that I have no memories of it.
I'm sure I would have talked about it in some of the podcasts. So maybe
this era is like sort of for me, like what the 40s feel like watching them. Like a lot of like these reunions and like whatever happened afterwards just like kind of forms a soup. Little bit of a soup. I can tell you, I'm sure I had a great time, a fantastic time at the Survivor finale. I can't wait to hear what you had to say about it on the podcast. More to the point, I can't wait to hear what Steven had to say. I wonder if Steven finally was feeling like San Juan del Sur showed up strategically at this point.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll get into Steven's thoughts on all of it, but also fun to watch the live reunion show here. Now, I haven't rewatched a lot of old Survivor since that they have gotten rid of the live reunion show, but fun to also watch Jeff open the show and bring it back and welcome in the live crowd. Jeff does a lot of vamping with the crowd also in the San Juan del Sur finale.
He does a lot of vamping with the crowd. He makes a couple of friends. I think that he participates in like scenes with actual paid actors. I feel like the blue collar, white collar, no collar people.
Yeah, we could talk about that. They spend a lot of time setting up season 30, which famously Jeff was extremely high on coming out of
the next
Survivor,
evolution of
San Juan
Survivor.
del Sur.
Yeah.
It's the 30th season, but just the 30th season, and we could set that up more here tonight. But can you believe it? We have gone through the entire San Juan del Sur now.
I can believe it because it was just an extraordinary thing to re-experience it, to look at all of the different ways that so much has changed since when this season first dropped. Some funny ways in which it intersected with 47 as it's currently airing, and really just a delight. And some of it just really popped so well for me. It was so much fun getting to see Keith Nail again. It was so fun gaining new appreciation for Nugget champion Wes Nail. It was so delightful feeling vindicated in my long-held but not publicly disclosed belief that Missy Payne should be brought back for a second chance at Survivor. And I will cherish all of these memories just as fondly as I cherished the first time watching this show.
All right, well, let's talk through this big finale. And Josh, of course, Jeff sets it up in the opener. I do feel like that the vibes between the 2014 Jeff and the 2024 Jeff, I feel like upon further examination, do feel like drastically different. And I'd say I'm enjoying the 2024 Jeff more than the 2014 Jeff.
I think that's probably right. I think so. A thought that I had while watching the reunion was that Probst's energy at the live reunion versus Probst's energy in Nicaragua filming San Juan del Sur feels so much like the energy he is giving out in Fiji through all the seasons now. The way that we've been talking about, he's playing for the people in the back, projection. He's being a little more animated. I feel like that's live reunion Jeff to some extent. It's just that he never really completely unhinged himself in that same way, but he's treating Survivor that he's making now like he's treating it like it's a live audience and he's playing to them. So I think there's a little bit of a thread there.
I just feel like he seems very tight throughout all of this.
Yes.
And I don't know, for whatever reason, he just he does seem looser in the 2024 of it all, but
long hair don't care.
Long hair don't care. All right. So Jeff welcomes everybody in, and the finale starts with, if I'm going to be honest, we open with a final five. A big fight. Actually, we get some fireworks going.
Huge fight. Yeah, it gets real personal, I believe, between Missy and Jacqueline. And Natalie says it's just a game, and Jacqueline's like, "No, this time it's personal." She gets really mad because she doesn't like people saying mean things about John. She does not care for that. I feel like did you hear her take a few shots at Missy? I felt like there was a couple shots.
What'd she say?
Missy. I just feel like I don't know if I misheard, but it's something about I think she raised the specter of the ex-husbands.
It's such low-hanging fruit to go after Missy anytime she does anything oh, is this why you didn't work out with the guys?
Come on.
Come on, be better.
We can't refine the critique. You just always have to go for just boop, the obvious bruise that you keep pushing. Leave it alone. But it's a blowout, Rob. It's a big blowout.
She even yells at Natalie.
Yeah, Jack's pissed. She's mad.
She's mad.
She had a really bad reaction to that. Keith is nowhere to be found. Where is Keith in these moments?
I don't know. I think he goes and runs for it. I mean, he talks about when he gets eliminated. He's like, well, what do you expect? 3 women. Look, I can't even deal with 1 woman at home.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. But then we really get a lot of Keith, because we are going to have our challenge. And they did this a lot in the late 20s, early 30s, of a reward challenge where you're playing for an advantage in the next challenge. And really, you could miss me with all of this between, the challenge to get ready for the challenge.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think when you're talking about a 3-hour episode and we're not trying to do 3 hours ourselves, we can make some cuts along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it added much other than like, does Keith win this one if he doesn't he gets to practice the final 5 challenge. That's the
Right.
reward he wins at the reward challenge.
But he won this challenge. Like he could just win this challenge.
He could just
and
win
then
this one, and
that's
then
it. It was the same difference. Keith Nail won the reward challenge to get ready to practice for the ultimate actual challenge.
Yeah.
You didn't need it.
Yes, correct. Survivor is doing like a lot less with like the actual amount of challenges that you're getting in like a finale episode, I think, unless they're elimination challenges. And like still having a ton of, obviously it's the 90-minute per episode thing certainly helps with the way that they can tell a story. But I think another thing that they've done well is like, it's just like, it doesn't always have to be like a challenge. Like we could like break it up with a couple of other things, because this feels like, it does feel totally uninspired, right? Like, I think it just like feels very uninspired and just like, we need to have a segment here, and like not trusting that like the show would be interesting enough on its own.
So what's the issue here that Julie quit and that threw off the numbers, do you feel like?
I don't know, maybe, possibly.
In Cagayan, I think they ended up just having a final 2 in this spot. I think here they end up deciding to, okay, we're going to keep it a final 3, but we have all the challenges built already.
What? Like, someone quits, Rob. I feel like the reward should be like, it's 38 days. Like you get a final day freebie.
That being said, great. Josh, the actual final 5 challenge was like kind of like convoluted. I don't know if we ever get that challenge again, where Keith Nail, because he had a day to practice, was the only person that was able to actually complete like this Rube Goldberg type machine. It was sort of like the start of some motion, but then you're trying to balance the billiard ball on like a paddle.
Those like long mirrors that the dentist uses to like see what's going on back there. He basically has 2 of those, and he's putting a ping pong ball between them, and you have to like try and catch it that way.
Yeah, nobody else even completed one, and Keith Nail won the whole challenge.
And you know what? He didn't need to practice to be the one who was eventually going to crack this. Like Keith Nail was not a strategic genius by any stretch of the imagination, but he had this sort of magic touch.
He was good with balls.
He was.
He says that.
He had this magic touch. He had this magic touch out there. So I don't know. He didn't need to win that reward in order to have won the immunity challenge, but that's how it ends up going.
All right. So Jeff is doing a lot of crowd work during the San Juan del Sur finale. Much. Okay. So Keith he wins the advantage challenge. Jacqueline goes to Exile Island. Tough day for Jacqueline, I think, between John getting voted out and then going to Exile Island. And so Jeff shows us, okay, how much food do the contestants really eat out there?
Okay, so if we still had the live reunion, because I know that this is a really big debate, that there's a lot of people out there who say like, oh, I don't think we should be doing the reunion right after the final tribal. They're too raw. We're missing something, like we're losing context or whatever. And then they say that let's go back to the way the reunions were. But if we go back to the way reunions were, Rob, we're going to have to check in with Olivia Feldman every time. We're going to have to speak to the Olivia Feldmans of the world.
Well, before we get to Olivia Feldman, the little girl that Jeff talks to, he's like showing like, what do the survivors eat in a day?
So like these will be the interstitials that you'll get in your finale now. If you go back to this era, wouldn't you rather just like straight through Survivor?
Well, I think that we're in this era where I think that Cagayan, was it Cagayan or was it this? The first time that Jeff starts and is bringing people in. It might be this one. I don't remember if Jeff is popping in during the Survivor Cagayan finale.
I don't recall, but he certainly does this all the way through the end of the live reunion show's reign.
Okay, so but it wasn't there the whole time. It might even be as early as Blood versus Water, but it's around this time that he's doing it. So that we cut back and forth, and then eventually he's going to start bringing people up, like when they like do an interview with somebody when they get voted out, like, hey audience, how about we got this person here?
It becomes a real to do.
Yeah. So Here Jeff is showing us, so what did the survivors really eat? So he has got like this little bowl of rice. He's like, look at this bowl of rice. This is 100 calories. Now, just for context,
A hunch.
let's compare 100 calories versus the average American's diet. What do you think about the spread of the average American's diet?
What was on there?
So we had like some eggs and toast and bacon. Pretty good
I
breakfast.
thought that was
for,
interesting. He pulled out like English brekkie and like put it on the table. It's like, oh, we're just missing like the blood sausage and tomato, but it's like basically fully there.
Yeah,
We're almost all the way.
For lunch,
Some beans.
okay, you have a burger. Jeff's and the fries,
Of course,
and
you
a
have
soda.
to. Yeah, and a
Average.
soda.
Okay, that's average lunch. And what's the average dinner? Spaghetti. And look like some breadsticks also. What? No dessert of tiramisu?
No tiramisu. No tiramisu on an average day. He's talking about averages. On an average day, that sounds close enough to what I do.
2,500 calories, according to Jeff. Okay,
that's 2,500 calories. All of
seems
that.
like more than that. That seems pretty good.
I feel like that sounds like a really good deal.
That seems like a good deal.
Like a really good deal. Like that's a 2,500 day. Like, whoa, you ate well.
Yeah.
Good
so,
work.
all right. So Jeff goes out to a little girl. She appears to be one of Jacqueline's guests. We're always going to check in with some kids during this era during this era.
You think that it's one of Jacqueline's guests.
She had on the back of the seat reserved for Jacqueline Schultz, and
okay, that would strongly suggest that she's
there
one
was
of Jacqueline's guests.
It seems like that they're with the family because I think that right behind there's like a Wes Nail lookalike. I'm like, why is Wes Nail in the audience
for the abandoned Wes Nail twin routine they were going to do? With the live
yeah, so there must be another Nail male that's out there.
Cut for time.
So. Yeah, either that or they kicked somebody out of the Jacqueline family seat and brought this little girl in.
Is that what we're going to do when we do the West Nail nugget eating competition on Long Island next summer?
Bring in all the nails?
If we can't get Wes, like then we do it sort of like the Timothy Chalamet thing and just like get as many West Nail males as humanly possible.
Sure. A West Nail lookalike contest?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why not?
Let me work on this.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about Josh. Jeff talks to a young woman, Olivia Feldman, probably about 10 or 11. So she would be of age to play Survivor at this point.
He's like basically, hey, so do you think you could live on this diet? You think you could do Survivor? It's like, no, not at my age. It's like, oh, Olivia Feldman. Always
so
quick
precocious.
With the yeah. And she said, but when I get older, I'm going to be on this show. And she's been eligible for 3 years now.
Yeah, we haven't seen her. I mean, one of these days, we will finally get like, well, I was the kid in the reunion that voted for that Ben was going to win the game. It
is such a good story. I'm shocked that they haven't done that. Like that feels like that's like the good kind of low hanging fruit. I think like that's right there. Put that person on a season. Get Austin Russell back. Let's do the full thing. Blood versus water. They'd be a pair.
All right. So we go back to the action out in Nicaragua. Jacqueline is having a little bit of a, sad time on Exile Island.
She's in her feelings. She's facing it down, right? Conventional wisdom makes it look like Jacqueline's toast. She's toast.
Y'all toast?
Yeah.
Jacqueline?
Yeah. That's my Jacqueline. She's not doing great. But Natalie maybe has a couple tricks up her sleeve.
Okay. All right. We then watch Keith Nail. He goes to go practice. He talks about the flashover. We get a lot of fire department terminology in San Juan del Sur between Jeremy explaining surround and drown. Josh, we get Keith explaining to us in the fire department, in the fire department, we have what they call flashover.
Wasn't that a show? Flashover? Wasn't that one of the Lost clones on ABC?
It could have been.
I think. Flash forward. Sorry. A flashover.
Yes.
What is a flashover exactly?
Yeah. It does like that the whole place is about to go.
Okay. So he's describing himself as the flashover?
I think he's
Or
saying
the game.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is that, okay, we're in flashover territory. This whole thing's about to burn down. We got to get out of here. And so I think he's like, it's do or die, I think he's what he's saying.
What a great way to describe the final stretch of Survivor, I feel like. Like, this whole thing's about to go down. Get out of here with the money.
Yeah.
I think
And so we watch Keith practice.
Yes. We're talking about practice now?
Yep.
Are we really
Nails,
doing this?
Keith Nail's going to practice.
He
And
practices with using the dental mirrors with the ball, and he does it. And he says, I'm going to do it until they tell me to stop. And then they go to the actual challenge, and he does it, and he wins.
And he does it. And it's not even close.
It's not close. It's so boring. It really is rather boring. This is a great sequence in 2X.
Okay, so Keith has won the Final 5 Immunity Challenge. And then we come back, and then we get a little bit of backstory about the challenge that we saw. Was it in last week's episode?
Yes, it was the challenge from last week. So we go back to the reunion, and Jeff is now with boy genius Austin Russell, who designed the challenge that was the reward challenge from, I believe, last week's episode. And he's there. He's part of Make-A-Wish. It was his wish to go out there and talk to John Kierhofer, and you see like photos of Kierhofer and the Kierhofer trailer. And then they're like, well, your challenge was so good, we put it on the show. As you observed last week, of course, this is the challenge that breaks Missy's ankle. So there is that. And that goes completely unmentioned entirely. Austin Russell was... Did I miss something with Austin Russell recently, Rob? Is my question for you. Is this ringing any bells? Because I was away from the real time with Survivor 45, but today I came across an article. North Texas Make-A-Wish survivor creates challenge for the reality show, and it's a 10 years later interview with Austin Russell. He's 22 years old. And somehow, some way, this article insinuates that Austin Russell had something to do with Survivor 45.
So I'm looking at the same article. I don't know. This could be some sort of like AI mistake.
Is this real? This feels like
because I don't really know.
This real life?
I don't know. I can't speak to this. Because
I figured here's what I figured, Rob. I figured like you and like Mike Bloom and like Dalton, like you all would have had been really asleep at the switch to miss this. If like something fairly significant had happened with Austin Russell and Survivor 45.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, did this happen? Is this real? Was it like, did he go out there for like a set visit? Like what's going on? They say that he's part of it.
They say that he's part of it, but I'm not really sure if they bring him back.
Was he an alternate?
I can't speak to it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a great story that he ends up creating this challenge, even though Missy breaks her ankle.
She breaks her ankle on it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I wonder if they just like talked about it again. Okay, actually, no. Okay, so here we go.
We got it?
So I got it. Okay,
so pin it down. Let's hear it.
The Survivor Instagram account. They did the whole reset, okay?
Yes.
All right. And then smash cut. They go 14 seasons later.
Oh, wow.
Austin returns.
Returns.
Let's see what he's doing.
Whoa. All right, it is the official rehearsal, Survivor 43, for the challenge that our dream teamer, Austin Russell, created. Dream team. Go!
I like my design because it's difficult in different ways. This is hard because you're trying to...
Wait, he's in the dream team now?
Austin Russell is a dream teamer? This is the coolest shit ever.
very agile, very small, try to move through very small areas. This is hard because you want to go very fast.
We're tied together.
The seesaw is by far the most dangerous thing on this. Hard for just about everyone.
You're good, Coco. Head over the gate.
A balance challenge. It's one of a kind. The very first design I made in stop motion, it was just the hurdles, the bucket with water, and then going over the seesaw to fill up. Just a
Yeah, look at this.
Austin's like on screen.
This is
He's
a
in
happy
Fiji.
story.
He's in Fiji. He's got like he looks the spitting image, the platonic ideal of a Survivor dream teamer. He's got like a hat on, a little backpack. He was doing a little
this
running.
is as good as we're gonna get, I think, of like one of these kids that they bring out and they're reunion show being on the show.
God, what a win.
We got a kid on the dream team.
That's incredible. That's an incredible Survivor story that I'm surprised has not gotten more traction. That's phenomenal.
I mean, it did get a lot of likes on Instagram, but I don't know. We forgot. It was
hopefully
110
it gets
weeks
another
ago.
bump right now. You know,
Let me like it. I think
hit it with a like.
I owed it a like.
Hit that.
So
put that in the show notes. Everyone go and like it. This is like, remember when we told everybody if that person's Survivor Twitter handle was still available, that they should tweet us. It's in the evolution of strategy. It's like that. Everyone should go and like this Austin Russell Dream Teamer video.
Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, 12,000 people have liked it, including Brandon Donlin and
so
Owen
many
Knight.
more people liking that Instagram. That's a great story. Dream Teamer, I think, is maybe the best gig in town. I think Dream Teamer is like, you get all of the adventure, like you get a lot of the adventure of going out there and playing Survivor, but you can shower at some point. You know, I think
at some point.
That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. That's great. Cool story. Love that.
Josh, we come back to camp, and so there's a really funny fourth, like almost like shades of what's going to happen with Carolyn some 15 seasons later of Keith Nails trying to get through a confessional, and they leave a lot of this in the show. We don't hear the producer, but Keith is trying to get his confessional out and like needs to like start and stop a couple times.
What does he say? Do you have
He's a little bit like, I wish I would have pulled the clip for this. He's like, well, being out here is like, what was I saying about that? Oh yeah, day 38. This is tough. All right, let me start again. Like being out here.
What is it that Big D says about Keith Dale? What you see is what you get. You know?
Jeff says that's why we love him.
That's why we love him. Yeah.
Okay.
He just kept squeaking by.
Well, all right. Keith is safe. It's gotta be Jacqueline.
Yeah.
So sorry,
That's
Jacqueline.
sad. That's
Jacqueline and Nat are gonna have a little chat.
Yeah. And maybe it's not as done for Jacqueline as everybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Natalie says that Baylor and Missy, their blood, they're never gonna vote for each other.
Right. So I guess my question all these years later is, was this necessary? It's awesome what happens here, but is it necessary? Like, is it so important, Rob, to risk, such a ruckus internally with Missy if she survives this vote, which she's the one who's going to survive? And if they were wise enough to vote out Natalie at the next vote, Natalie doesn't get to the end. But like, is her concern that she's going to sit at the end with Missy and Baylor so serious that she should take that risk? Ultimately, we just said last week, Missy and Baylor can't beat anybody at this point.
Yeah.
In any combo.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good resume move.
This is like a very cool thing to do. And I think like, I like it because it's awesome. Do I think it's like the smartest move on the board in hindsight? I don't know. But it's so cool.
Well, I think it's a good question of, okay, did Natalie have to do this move?
Right.
No, but maybe she read the script and was like, oh, Jacqueline's going to win the Final Four immunity challenge.
Right.
I better make this move because ultimately, you're right. It's not a move that she has to do. I think she could kind of coast to the final three of like, okay, Baylor and Missy. I'm gonna go to the Final Four with Baylor and Missy and Keith. And as long as we can. Jacqueline will be gone. Jacqueline will be gone.
One thing about it that I like is like she's keeping Jacqueline around to compete with Keith. Like the two of us versus Keith. One of us has to win in order to get out Keith. I guess then my question is like, why not blindside Missy, who literally can't compete in the challenge? So now that you've got Baylor on your side, and it's a 3-1 shot against Keith.
Well, not sure. Maybe we touch on this in some of the post game interviews.
Maybe. I don't think I was thinking about it back then. I think what I was thinking back then was like, this is the coolest thing.
It was cool.
It's so cool. So like, it's not a complaint. It's just a question a decade later.
Yeah. And I don't know if we had too many other times where people are, playing idols, like certainly, you had the Parvati idol play. Tony and LJ try to play idols on each other in Survivor Cagayan, which they had seen before they played this game. But this was a pretty big move.
Yeah, this is a hot move. This is a really hot move where it's just like, you see, I'm putting on a show for y'all, you guys. Like everybody on the jury, you're so bored. You wanted like this is just going to end up being just like a stampede to the end. Let me give you a show. So like, there's something to be said for that for sure. I don't know if I would call it necessary, but if like you're just doing everything in your mental capacity to secure the winning votes, this is a fun thing to do for the audience on the jury.
And Baylor
Christie seemed riveted by it.
Baylor asks Natalie earlier in the day, play the idol on my mom.
Do you think that's what gave her the idea? Do you
think
that Baylor?
So.
Do you think Baylor willed it into existence?
I don't think she incepted it, but huge move, and ultimately, and Missy thinks she's going home, but it's Baylor. But Baylor gives the credit to. She says, "Wow, I can't even be mad at it. This is a big move."
Baylor has no issue with it. I think Baylor gets out of there, and Baylor's attitude for the rest of it is really, really good until Reed makes her cry. But like short of that, I think like she gets voted out and she's just like, sunshine and rainbows on the jury.
Okay. So we come back. Jeff's like, wow. All right. Okay. Here's a group of people. Here's a group of people that love watching Survivor. Let's talk to them.
He has more people that he'd like to speak with.
Okay.
He's got a little more. He's got just a little more time that he's got.
Yeah. Okay. And so we've got all these folks, Josh, and Jeff talks to them like, hey, Jeff's really trying to foster like this idea of people like, it's an event, watch Survivor with your friends. And so he interviews this group of people who watch Survivor.
Okay. And what does he learn?
People watch Survivor. Jeff is actually a little bit sort of like, mocking some of the people. I believe we have our friend Donna is in this group.
Ooh.
And Jeff and she says like, and once a year, me and my husband, we watch every season. He's like, okay, get a life. Like he's a little bit. I think this is pre-streaming.
You know what? I don't think Jeff likes his job very much in this moment, right? Like, don't you feel like that? I feel like Jeff doesn't love his job very much in this moment of his life, in this season of his life, in December 2014. I feel like
he doesn't seem as into it as he is now. I don't know.
Yeah, like right now, I think like
maybe he just seems so into it now.
He's like the Santa Claus of reality TV, right? He's like I bring you gold twice a year, I think he's leaned in hard on the utility that his specifically weird thing provides to the world. I think at this moment, 10 years ago, I don't think Jeff was appreciating that very much.
One of the guys also talks about how he's like, Jeff, I taped the show every single Thursday, and one time in college that I had a date with a girl on a Thursday, and I had to tell her that I cancel. And Jeff also kind of says like, okay, what a loser.
No, that guy I think he liked. That guy
he liked that guy.
Doesn't he say to that guy like, now that's the kind of Survivor fan we were talking about, or something like that?
But like, bruh, if you tape it every week,
just tape it.
That you could have just taped it and gone on the date.
But you'll never get that live night ever again. Those live Survivor nights are gold.
I guess not. Okay. All right. So we come back for immunity challenge, and
Missy and Natalie quickly just hash it out. Missy also seems like she's mostly okay. She cries about it, but she's not mad at Natalie. It's just like you'll see her in a day. You know, like you're fine.
That's my kid.
That's my kid.
Okay. Big immunity challenge, and this one is a real barn burner. It's a tough immunity challenge.
Yes.
Jacqueline takes a pretty bad spill also in this challenge.
She drops.
Yeah.
She she literally just like falls like a 20-foot distance. It seems like it's a really big drop, and Probst's like, "Oh shit!" And he goes down to check it on Jack. She's like, "I'm good.
It's just a flesh wound. I'm okay.
Just got the wind knocked out of me. I'm good."
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine then if Jacqueline was like on, like we would have had a final four with 2 of the 4 people who can't even walk into tribal council?
Oh my God. I mean, come on. That would be awful. Absolutely awful. But somehow in some sick way, maybe kind of funny too.
Yeah. And so kind of out
like
of nowhere.
Challenge, I have to say.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. This is also like a trademark of the 20s. I feel like sort of like they have like the big like set piece, like Final Four challenge. And so ultimately Jacqueline ends up winning here and has a lot of leverage in the decision making of what goes on. Josh, just as a thought exercise, okay? Because this was not a thing that we did back when we didn't know about yet the Final Four fire making coming to this situation. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Final Four. Jacqueline has won the necklace. What happens in fire making? A little bit of a precursor to when Natalie Anderson will win the Final Four challenge in Survivor Winners at War and have to decide what to do. What would Jacqueline do here?
If Jacqueline is, I mean, I think Jacqueline, if she is looking out for her best interests, brings Missy with her to the end. Like she's gonna have a hard enough road against Keith, a hard enough road against Natalie, but she's gonna have no trouble at all against Missy, and it's fair to just let the 2 big dogs fight it out.
Yeah, ironically, she ends up kind of in the same situation that Natalie would find herself in Winners at War, where I think she probably is like, hey, I won the necklace. I'm going to the final 3. I'm taking Missy. She's, not really a big threat. And then Natalie and Keith, you duke it out. And then the winner of that will win the game.
Yeah. Interesting. Does it end up really impacting things in Winners at War that she didn't go into fire? Like, did she have a real shot at a
I don't know if she had a real
votes,
shot.
or?
Boston Rob was like, hey, you did a pretty good job, but you didn't do the one thing
he would have
you were supposed to do.
He says he would have done it.
If it's Sarah Lucina and Natalie and Michelle, like does Nat, if she knocked out Tony, get a little bit more? There were some like never edgers that were on the jury. I think it's closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that
that's
Natalie herself
for like 5
kind
years.
of beats herself up over that. Oh, why didn't I make the fire against Tony?
No, she shouldn't. She has such a great survivor arc. Her survivor arc is amazing.
I didn't beat her up over it. I'm just
no, I
know. She was sad about it.
I'm just saying, if someone's listening to this who knows Natalie, if she's really beating herself up, just tell her, hey, don't. You did great.
Yeah. I mean, at least in the months following that, of like, that could have been $2 million.
It would have been nice.
Would have been nice. Okay. All right. So there's some pitching back at camp, but nobody's really making a very hard sell about this.
There's a very quick scene where Missy and Jacqueline talk about it in the shelter, because like Missy's like, I'm not here to vote out my friend, my daughter's friend, Natalie. But when Jacqueline's like, Missy's like, I'm listening.
Yeah. She does like I heard that she wanted to vote out Natalie. My head was like,
yes, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Don't forget she voted out my kid.
Yeah. Don't forget that she's driving too, so she has the ability to swerve the car back around to listen to what Jacqueline has to say.
And Missy probably does a decent job here. She's like, look, you got to trust your gut, but what WWJD, what would John do?
John would tell me to vote her out. That's what she says.
Yeah, but it's kind of like for Missy, you're like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because Keith is going to win the game if he gets to the final 3.
This feels like this footage, probably like this is all of the footage that has them like seriously considering voting Natalie out. Like it feels like there's like no other moment beyond what we see in this like quick 45-second scene that probably immediately on the other side of this, they're like, who are we kidding? We're voting out Keith. You know, like there's really no drama in this vote, actually.
Yeah. Not a ton of other drama. We're going to go.
But Natalie's going to tribal. When we go to tribal council, Natalie's like, maybe they should vote me out. It's possible. Because like, I think that I could for sure win this game tomorrow. Absolutely. And like, so she's like talking a big game here for whatever it's worth. Like from this moment forward, like from the time that she idles out Baylor, Natalie can't help. Maybe even from the time that she gets John out of the game, it's just like she's just like taking free throws, just like nothing but net every time. Like that's how she's like trying to play this. So she's like showing off at this point to a degree. Even poor Keith ends up voting for Missy. Like it's not even like a dramatic vote reveal because the second you see that Missy vote come up, like okay, so Keith got duped. You know, so I don't know. It's fine. You know, we're on our way to the end. Yeah.
Okay. So we see Keith get voted out, and then Jeff's like shows us some footage of like, all right, I gotta show you this. This is Keith Nail right after he gets voted out. And then like Jeff is like interviewing Keith Nail. It's like I feel like we almost never see any kind of footage like this. I don't know if they film it a lot or for whatever reason they filmed it with Keith. And they're like, wow, Keith, look at you, 38 days. How's it feel? It's like, wow, if you would have told my friends that I was eating spa food or I went to the moon, my friends would have said Keith just went to the moon.
Keith went to the moon.
He could not get over the spa food.
Yeah, the spa food was still
from like
the
a week
thing.
ago.
Yeah, I think he was like very scared of how that was going to go over back at the house. You know?
Yeah, not when he goes back to the house.
Yeah, is chiefly concerned with that. Then Big D comes out. Right?
Yeah.
We get Big D here.
Yeah, we get some Big D. Yeah. And there's Big D about like, all right, so what did you think watching Keith? And she was upset about one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. He tried to raise my son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Or like that the one thing I didn't like is he told Missy how to raise you don't tell her mama how to raise her baby.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that. So she's like Keith. She'll just give it to you straight, you know, just telling you exactly how it is. So that she didn't like that. She didn't even like when Keith did that. And so she called it out, and that's Big D.
Okay. Josh, anything that you want to talk about in terms of our final three now having their breakfast?
No, not really. Like, do we like what does the final breakfast even look like now?
They still have it. They still do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So is this like the thing that has changed the least about Survivor?
The final three breakfast? It's pretty similar. I don't think there's much of a change of like the end, like the final day is still pretty, like day 26 is still formatted pretty close to day 39.
Yeah.
Until after the reading of the votes.
Right. Until that. And then obviously like even final tribal has changed in recent years, right? Like it's become like the pile-on as opposed to in this episode, it'll be everybody gets one beat to go up, which is what it was for so long. So to me, I guess the only point I'm trying to make is like the actual day 39 breakfast, like one of the things that they just have never really touched. It's basically that with like a couple of unique iterations.
They don't really start it until when, I don't even know, is it Rob and Amber have the first day 39 breakfast?
Is that right? And that's what kicks it off?
I think so. Like, yeah. I don't think that like Jenna and Matt had a breakfast together.
You didn't hear about any legendary breakfast that occurred together.
No, Matt almost blew the camp up.
Right. Yeah.
But
that would imply that he had a hearty day 39 breakfast if he almost blew the camp up.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the final tribal council because it's a pretty epic one.
It's fun. There's some very big moments in here. You know, there's one very famous takedown speech in here. there's like some things that I'd forgotten were like Keith's question, just kind of basically being like, "Why'd y'all have to do that?" Why?
I just didn't like the line.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's the show. It is the show. And so he's like, "Well, I don't think I like that."
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
John,
Natalie answers him, and he's like, "Well, I know that you got to do what you got to do, but I hate the constant lying. I know it's part of the game, but I went through this half of the game without an alliance, without lying, without until it falls down to it.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to say." That's the way I look at it.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah, that's the best part. That's the way I look at it.
We got that, Keith. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way
you didn't like that part.
That's the way he looks at it.
Yeah.
I feel like John Mish could have done more to pump up Jacqueline.
He was as John Mish as possible.
Like he just kind of shows up and he thinks like, yeah, good job.
Look at you did it.
Yeah. So like I think he could have like done a little better there.
Yeah. Can I say that something that I don't know how I reacted in the real time to this, but I have to say that Baylor talking to Missy really like I thought was very touching.
Wow, Rob.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that you had this reaction in the moment.
I doubt that I did, but just watching it.
What was it?
The fact that she doesn't even try to like plead for her mom to get any votes, but she basically just like makes the like analog of like, basically I feel like our whole lives, like we've just been like hobbling on one leg, trying to get through this whole thing. And, we've been through it all together, all these men coming in and out of our lives, being blindsided. And, you got to the final three. I'm so proud of you. I love you. Like, that was to me, like, just, I don't know, maybe just watching it like as a parent now.
Yeah. I think it's probably a good amount of that. And like being able to maybe imagine like yourself in a similar situation, right? Like something like that would be such like an incredible thing to bring home.
I just feel like that the whole season is about like Missy, like my kid, don't go with my kid. Like, it's so much about like Missy being, and then like for Baylor to say like, Mom, I'm proud of you. You did look at you on one leg. You got to the end. Yeah. Like, this was like a great accomplishment. She's not like, and this is why my mom should win, everybody.
Right.
Like she wasn't even politicking for a vote. She wasn't trying to take down Natalie. She was just like, Mom, I'm really proud of you. And it's always been just us. And it's always going to be just us. And we have this special relationship. I just thought it was very nice.
It's very sweet. And I think that that's got to be a very happy memory that they have, or at least it could have been, if not for the fact that, oh my God, that's Reed Kelly's music.
Yes, that's coming up. Missy, although Missy has a weird response, she says, love you, babe. That's the best hug I've ever had right there. I'll take it. And I had to go back. I'm like, wait, did she get a hug? Like, what?
No,
the
words.
The words were
the hug. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
That's what she got.
And we have like Wes also. I was tickled by Wes's question. He just looked like he was on like laughing gas the whole time that he was up there.
And Wes goes up there and he's just like, oh, what a great experience we all had here together. Isn't it cool? We played Survivor with our family. Tell me what that felt like for you. Mm-hmm. And that's it. He's just like, you know what?
What was it like playing with your loved one? Was his question.
Can I just say it at least this one last time, Rob? Wes is a good boy. He hasn't been to jail. He's got good questions. What a sweet, gentle final impression to leave on this season. It's like, God, I really loved playing with my dad. Mm-hmm. Well, how did you guys like it? Did you like playing with your loved ones? I thought that was sweet. I thought that was nice.
Jeremy's statement.
So great. She was like, don't be mad. Natalie did it. There's nothing to say. I'm not mad at any of you at all. Natalie did great. That's it. I don't even have any questions. I don't even need anything, he says. He says he doesn't need any questions answered. He's got it all. He's just there to be like, just vote for Natalie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just do it.
All right. Now, the one that is the most epic, and I think that has aged particularly well, Josh. I feel like that in the moment, on the night, I feel like that people were not necessarily feeling Reed's speech to Missy.
Well, yes, of course. I guess what I'm on the edge of my seat is right now is like, when you say it's aged particularly well, do you think that the people who love this season like really love this as an ending to Missy's story?
I don't know. I think that people like that. Okay, we don't get stuff like this anymore. It's very like
Yes.
catty and petty,
100%.
and it's like it's like giving like old school reality television.
Yeah.
And I think that like for the people who want to like make Survivor great again, like I feel like we don't get stuff like this anymore.
Sure. Yeah. Like it is like as savage a moment as this show produces, you know?
And I have to say, like listening to it back, like I kind of feel like that Reed. He kind of ate on this one, and
he did.
I kind of feel like he wasn't really wrong or off base either.
What do you have it? Did you clip this out?
Okay, yeah. This is from this is the whole clip. It's like 3 minutes long, so we could like listen in. Okay.
Ladies,
is this too loud?
Just a few things before we close tonight.
Actually, let's skip ahead to when he.
He starts. He's like, Natalie, you're so good at this. Jacqueline, you're so great.
Yeah, okay, but
Missy.
You cast yourself as the motherly figure. However, fans of classic literary fiction will see through very quickly to who your true character was.
Josh, are you a fan of classic literary fiction?
Are you even a fan? Yeah. I'm a big fan of the modern classic American literary fiction known as The White Lotus, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The fans 16th. Of the classic literary fiction will know Missy instantly.
Which is the wicked stepmother, really, of the tribe. It's the eccentric woman who comes in and makes demands on everyone for the things to which she feels so entitled. You know, she spoils her children by perhaps giving them more rice at dinner or the best places to sleep.
He's on 1X. Reed is really racing through this.
But you know what? But he's taking his time. He's like luxuriating in the kill. In Dungeons and Dragons, often this is popularized by Critical Role. DM Matt Mercer, when somebody gets the final blow against a bad guy, says, how would you like to do this? And what you're supposed to do is vividly describe the kill, make it a really cool epic moment for your character. Someone told Reed, like, how do you want to do this? And this is how he's killing Missy on Survivor.
Night in the shelter. She takes things that she's either not entitled to or didn't earn herself, which was always evidenced by the fact that you got more gimmies in this game than anyone and performed the worst out of anyone at challenges.
Yeah, let's just do some live fact checking. Did Missy get more gimmies than anybody else?
Okay. Well, she certainly was part of the gimmiest tribe in Survivor history, Hunapu, according to Jeff Probst. So she's part of a group of very gimme players, but was she the gimmiest? Gimme Gappenberg? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Here we go.
Lastly, you made the quintessential wicked stepmother move by abusing the help, which in this case was the minority alliances throughout the game. You always made sure they felt inferior, you always kept them in their place, and you always made it eminently clear that they weren't coming to the ball that is the tribal council here this evening with you. So that to me feels like your fatal flaw in your whole plan, because unlike life, in the game of Survivor, the outcasts are the one who get the final say. So in a sweeping moment of poetic justice, the people to which you were so rude and terrible to before relegating them to the jury with the help of your alliance are going to decide your fate this evening. This is why I love fairy tales, because they always have a happy ending.
Not done.
And the wicked stepmother never wins. Nat, Jaclyn, good luck.
Wow. Okay, Baylor.
That was a lively final tribal, for sure.
Hey.
This is what comes with making it to the final three. A jury who's going to make you earn it every step of the way.
Baylor, don't worry about it.
Okay, she very like Missy's like, Baylor, don't worry about it.
Like,
and she and like Keith Nail's like, all right. She's like, stop.
She goes, stop. I need to breathe. Where to begin? Where to truly begin with any of this? It's so savage. It would be savage. It would be savage in any context of Survivor, but gosh, to do it on a blood versus water season with your daughter right there.
Yeah.
After her daughter has just like given this to your point, it's like it is like overkill. It's like
the joy turned to ash in her mouth.
Stop! She's already dead. You know, it's just so much.
Yeah,
it's so hardcore.
And then also, we get in the reaction to that in the reunion show. Like I think it was particularly stinging for Missy because she actually is a stepmother, and Reed says, "Oh, I didn't really know that." And so, and Jeff says, "All right, Reed, you want to apologize?" He's like,
"Not really.
No, I'm going to stand by what I said."
He says, "Not really." Yeah, he does. He ultimately does the same thing.
That's always one of my qualms with the players, that, you know, the reunion show is such a great opportunity. You can really do almost anything in this final tribal council. And then at the reunion show, Jeff is always going to give you the opportunity of like, hey, but that was back there. That was the heat of the moment. Like, but you guys are cool now. And it's like such a dud when throughout Survivor history, I'm not singling out Reed and whether it's like Rob and Big Tom, or Shireen and Will, or like there's like all these opportunities where like, hey, but you guys are good now, right? Like it's just like it's the simplest thing in the world. You could lie. You could say like, yeah, that was like we're cool. Like everybody wants to see like, okay, you know, we had our fun and we are not left on a sour note.
Who is that good for though? You know, if you're Reed, is that good for Survivor? Or is that good for Reed? You know, is it good for Reed to be like, oh yeah, you know, I take it all back. It's good for, you know.
No, I take it all back. It's like, Missy's cool. Like, you know, we're good now. Like, it's just such an awkward moment.
How do you possibly ever be cool with this person ever again after a moment like this? I think that this is like one of those moments in Survivor history that like, you can't uncross this line. Like maybe now, maybe today, they could have a laugh about it. I don't know where they are in their lives, but like months later, and especially like minutes after it's aired live for the world to see.
But Josh, also like earlier in this very reunion show, like we are propping up Josh and Reed as vessels of Christ. That's earlier correct. In this very same show. So it just for the sake of the branding, that we could say like, you know what, that this was bad. You know, I got a little too excited, Missy. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have it in him. That is how deep his ire towards Missy goes. He won't walk it back. It's his signature move. He's not walking back his signature move.
Okay.
Reed Kelly, you lived long enough to see yourself become the villain here at the final tribal council. It's a wild speech. Very, very, very riveting TV.
Yeah. By the way, Reed still looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him recently.
What's Reed got going on?
A lot.
What does this mean?
Do your research.
Oh, no. I'm a too late Larry on this one, and I think that's fine.
He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
Cool. Gotcha.
Okay.
I got it. Picking up what you're putting down.
Hard worker. Okay.
Great. Whoa. Oh, boy. Okay. Yep.
Very hard.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out. They did too. Yeah.
Okay. Josh, let's go cut to the live reunion show.
Yeah.
We got votes.
We've got votes. The only thing we haven't like Jacqueline fights decently well. Natalie the whole time keeps being like, yeah, I was the best one here. I think I danced circles around these guys. And so we get to the final tribal. We get to the reunion part of the final tribal, and there are no surprises in the votes. The only surprise maybe is Reed voting for Jacqueline. Then you think about it for half a second longer, and he just wanted to make sure that Missy was clearly third place. Like he wanted to cleanly make sure that his vote made it that Missy was third place. That's not a vote for Jacqueline. That's a vote against Missy for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the reunion show.
Yeah. It happens, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know, like not terribly eventful. Jeff's a little weird here, like in a couple of specific ways. But one of the specific ways that Jeff is really weird here is, plus, we're going to check in on the status of John and Jacqueline. Are they still together? It's like, were we left with any real reason to think they're not? Like, why are you framing it this way? And then, like, you know, in the end, he's like, so are you still together? It's like, yeah, dude, we got engaged.
Well, they had a fight.
We had one fight. We had a single fight. I voted for her. I said, I love you. What are you trying to do here? So like that was weird. That like that fits very neatly in the describe love to me version of Jeff Probst that he currently is in this season.
Josh, do you have any specific memories of being in the building that night?
I found myself. I Where's Waldo to myself. You can Where's Waldo me very. Did
you have good seats or not?
I had the nosebleeds. I was very far in the back. I'm like back, like almost the very back row in the center section towards the right, and you see me like fist pumping and doing stuff like that a couple of times. I remember. I don't think really much from this one. The biggest memories are to come. My San Juan del Sur, like in the building memories, are a lot more scattered because they're like overshadowed by some other stuff that happens around this time. But like starting with next season and like the second chance reveal, you know, that's a from there on, I feel like I really remembered the reunions pretty distinctly, including the first ever Sia award, which was terrifying, horrifying.
Okay.
Horrifying moment.
Yeah.
Very scary.
All right. Anything else from the reunion show you want to highlight?
Well, he highlights Worlds Apart, right? Like he's like, hey.
Yes. Well, okay, but so we spent a lot of, so they really kind of yada yada like this finale for Jeff to really, he's so excited about season 30, and he is going to like hype up the no collar, white collar, no collar, blue collar, and then we'll bring up like randos from the audience that will speak to. You think they were industry plants?
Are they randos? This feel like sniff it out with me, Rob. First of all, the white collar guy. So he plays the trailer, the Worlds Apart trailer, and Jeff says, "All right, let's do a little experiment. Who here identifies as white collar? You over there, come up here." This guy could not have gotten there like faster. Like he knew his mark, and he knew they were like crunched for time. He had to get his lines out at a specific time. This guy who he then says, "Who's blue collar?" And this guy shows up and he's like, "Yeah, blue collar. I'm very proud of my job. And yeah, I love my job. I'm very proud to be a blue collar." Like,
yeah,
he's like,
this was like the backdoor pilot for Tough as Nails.
And then it just so happens, Rob, that right next to Jeff Probst is a no collar. Who's
young, attractive, no collar woman. Yes,
no collar. Just
so I don't think that they were.
You're a no collar, aren't you?
I don't think that they were industry plants. I think that they might have just like Price is Right style, like you know, prime the audience, like the warm up guy asked for, because the no collar guy is not word perfect with some of his answers.
No.
They ask about like, what does it mean to be like like, are you proud of being it? And he's like, he gives an answer like, well, I think that all
this guy questions more than like this guy just kind of offers it up. Like there's a little bit more of a back and forth with these two.
Yeah. Okay. But
how did we feel? Yeah. You know,
how did we feel in the moment, Josh? Now, do you remember that we did a podcast, you and I, right after the San Juan del Sur finale?
That totally tracks. That same night?
No, I believe it was probably the next
day,
night.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
do you remember any of the details about this?
This was a great tradition where I would come to Los Angeles for one of these reunions, and either you were on the carpet as well, and even if you weren't, we would typically like meet up the next day and do a recap of the reunions. I'm glad that those exist, because then that means the record reflects whatever happened that night. That
The
I no
record
longer
reflects. Now, do you recall that we did not record this podcast in my home?
Where did we record it?
We recorded it from the studios of Podcast One.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. This was our first ever in-person interview together.
I do not believe that's the case.
You think that
I believe that I believe we spoke in person.
Podcast?
I believe we did a podcast in person during Survivor Cagayan.
That is correct. Yes. Okay. So this is our second in-person ever podcast. Is at Podcast One.
Yet we're about 9 or 10 seasons into the evolution of strategy.
I can visualize that room. Can you see the room?
Yes.
Yeah. We're on kind of a long table.
Yeah, conference table, podcast
we
One
were on,
studios.
but we were on the short sides of the table.
Yeah.
So we were still kind of it wasn't like Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale. We were just across the table from each other. But it was kind of a long table, conference table.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So just to give some backstory, so I came on and I said, wow, what a great finale. And Stephen Fishback said that, no, it was not. I called it a phenomenal finale on the night of the finale. Stephen said, I can't wait to disagree with you. He said that the final tribal council was bad. He said the questions were boring. The speeches were boring. Or he said the answers were boring. And the speeches were mumbly.
The speeches were mumbly. Look, Jeremy's speech is a little mumbly. I feel like, there's really nothing to write home about with Alec here. Alec is just fishing for compliments. Wes is an inoffensive good boy. Keith's a little bit, unstructured. But I think all of it is probably made up for with the exemplary, if offensive, but exemplary public speaking from Reed Kelly. That is as put together of final tribal speeches I've ever heard, content notwithstanding.
Okay, so let me give you some of the in the real time. This is what we're saying. So you said that Fishback has a lot of anger to get over and is a Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, wow. 10 years later, I feel exactly the same.
Yeah. And so you liked the finale despite what Steven had to say.
Yes.
You said the crowd was with Keith and Natalie.
The crowd went wild. Yeah, of course they were with Keith and Natalie.
You said that there was a lot of reaction to Reed's speech, but you missed quite a bit of it.
That I missed the speech itself. That would track because really it's, not dissimilar to a live RHAP viewing of a Survivor episode, except it's the official freaking finale. So those pops in the room, they really explode. So the experience you're getting at the finale is you're at the finale, but as a means to really process and analyze the episode and really appreciate the episode, maybe not as much. Yeah.
You also said that the big winner of the night was whom?
Ooh, who was the big winner of the night? Was it Austin Russell?
Yes, you said that. He got the biggest laugh when he said to Jeff, "You're welcome."
You're welcome. You're welcome. Austin Russell. I can't get over this. That Austin Russell designs a challenge as but a 11-year-old boy. It makes it onto Survivor 29, and by Survivor 43, he's a dream teamer. It's incredible. That's an
big
incredible
winner.
Story.
Yeah.
What if he's listening to this right now? Austin.
Shout out Austin.
Congratulations.
Shout out my dogs at the crib.
Shout out to my dog, Austin Russell at the
Wigler.
crib.
Okay, Wigler agreed with Steven about Jeremy's speech being bleh.
It was a little, but I think knowing more about Jeremy now, it's really funny. This not being Jeremy's final note on Survivor. If this had been Jeremy's final note on Survivor, I don't know how often we're talking about this. I don't think you remember him in the same way.
Okay. At the after party, so I guess I did go to an after party. Spencer told Rob he's going to yoga with Vetus, and Wigler said, "Oh no, a whole disaster."
A whole disaster. Yeah.
Yes.
That feels that, if anything, feels more so now.
Yeah. Rob got the feeling that Jeff didn't like Natalie as a winner.
I think. Do you still feel that way, or is it more about the season?
I feel I think he came around on her eventually. But what I said at the time, and I think there's some truth to this, that he didn't like her as a winner because she was adopted.
Right.
She was an amazing race person, who they brought into Survivor and was not an original Survivor story. Jeff, I could not wait to get to Worlds Apart.
In very few ways was Natalie on Survivor because Jeff would have wanted it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to have someone from one of our CBS reality families on Survivor this year, like the way you had Hayden on. You have to do that, and it's going to be the Twinnies. He's like, that's probably it. And then one of them goes on to win. I don't think he could appreciate necessarily in the moment that it's a pretty impressive win. But I think really the bigger thing is he just is really kind of down on this season. He just really doesn't like the season.
So I don't know if this is true or Danielle is playing with the historical record. She says, after calling himself a fan of the season and noting it's in the top 15 for him, Wigler said he likes this season and would go on a date with it in downtown Orlando.
That doesn't feel like something I would say.
Does that not track?
It tracks as something I certainly could have said. Does it track as I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that I would take San Juan del Sur on a date, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would marry San Juan del Sur.
Marry it instantly.
I think I would marry San Juan del Sur. I think if you checked in on my relationship status 10 years later, and Josh and San Juan del Sur's relationship, are they still together? Find out on the other side of this commercial. I think you'd find out I got engaged to San Juan del Sur.
Mm-hmm.
I only love it more.
Okay, Josh, do you have any highlights from your interviews with the players?
Oh, I should have pulled some of that up. I do remember just in the continued hunt for headlines and how did I enjoy my headlines that I wrote back then versus now. And so to pull up the Natalie Anderson one, I believe I really enjoyed this because my Nadia article was called First Blood, like Rambo.
Yes.
I called this one Final Blood, and I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I really remember about that. I used to get so scared on red carpets, and I was not confident enough as a reporter yet. Even then, I think I'm 20. I think I'm 29 years old here at this moment in time. That maths correctly. So yeah, I would have been still pretty starstruck.
Young buck.
Yeah, I think I had done One World, I had done Cagayan, and Cagayan was a really cool one. And this was at the end of the first season of covering it super regularly on Exit Press. I think I was probably really starstruck. I remember being really starstruck to talk to Natalie. I remember feeling pretty excited that I was having a conversation with Keith Nail. So I have fond memories of it for sure.
A year later, you and I would be talking to Keith Nail in person.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
I would be talking to him in May of 2015.
You spent a lot of time with Keith Nail in the upcoming 2015.
That's
okay.
Right.
So Josh, by the way, my takes, I feel aged like fine wine.
Yeah,
as opposed to
I think so.
That's okay. Rob called the Baylor blindside. Steven acknowledged that Natalie was a great winner and the Baylor blindside was special, but somehow the whole finale was bad. Rob stood his ground, according to Josh Green, and said that it was a great finale all the way through and Natalie was an excellent winner. Rob said that the Baylor blindside is one of the biggest moves in the history of the show.
In the history of the show up to that point, maybe.
You don't think so?
That it's one of the biggest moves in the history of the show?
Natalie playing the idol for Jacqueline?
It's definitely up there. If you're gonna draw up. All right, we've been doing this along the way, right?
Is it top 20?
I don't think it's top 20. If it is, then I'm
surprised because I feel like that you are I feel like historically such a big fan of this.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of all the big moves that I don't remember from 40 onward.
I do think this is a good idea. Okay, 25th anniversary, the biggest 25 moves in the history of Survivor.
That's really it. I need to just get reacquainted with it. And I'm looking at the comments right now.
Get the list.
Hang on a second. I see Sasha is here. I see Christian Hubicki is here right now. And I'm getting this is why Rob is my bestie. Absolutely. This was the move that made me fall madly in love with Natalie Anderson. no doubt. Absolutely. And I was very enamored of this moment for quite some time. And rewatching it today was still as enamored of that moment as I was then. I just don't know. I don't
This
really
is a
know,
good,
like,
I like this. 25 biggest moves, Josh, of 25 years of Survivor.
I'd be curious to look at this. I need to get reacquainted with a lot of this stuff. How
What do we do? Is
it?
Is it a series of videos? Do we drop one podcast a week?
Whatever. Let's workshop it offline. But I think it's a fun idea. You've never done
we're
like
online.
We've never RHAP ranked the top moves of Survivor.
Yeah, I thought you wrote an article one time about the top 10 moves, but that was like 12 years ago.
Oh gosh, it was a long time ago. It's like right around.
I think most of them wouldn't even make the list now.
Yeah, should we pull this up real quick? The 10 best strategic moves ever on Survivor. This is March 2014 is when I wrote this. Number 10. So this is what I thought back in the day. In March of 2014. Number 10 was Boston Rob sending Matt Elrod back to
Not even
Island.
in the top 30.
Not even close.
Yeah.
At number 9, I've got the dead grandmother lie, Johnny Fairplay.
Okay. Again, like that. I think we could get into like that's a moment. Is it a move?
A moment. Hold up, bro. From Cara.
Probably not making the list.
Was number 8. I don't think it's making the list. I have Todd at Final Tribal at number 7. This is not my best work.
Yeah, again, I don't know. That's not move necessarily.
Yeah, I think like if we're talking about a move, history's going to look kindly on Natalie. The rock vote, the rock draw from Blood versus Water was number 6.
Okay.
Rob, I put you at number 5.
Which thing?
I put you getting rid of Christy.
Yeah,
at number 5.
And
I said,
okay, but that's probably not making the top 20. If it does, it's probably RHAP bump.
You're always the first one to say that. But the truth is, it's a great move. It's a terrific move. It's a foundational move. And you're the Rob and Rob as podcast. It's making the list. The Reichenbach job, I had it only number 4.
Wow,
which feels ridiculous. Fall of the Rotu 4, I have at number 3. Which I would still hold on to as like one of the absolute tops. I have Hatch making an alliance on here.
Just a general alliance.
2. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of this was like for historical record. And then of course Parvati's double idol play.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's a lot of stuff to add to the list. I think it would be like, I don't know if it's necessarily like, maybe it's a fan vote to like submit the list, but I think it's sort of like a panel of experts.
I think it'd be really fun to dig into. I think that there's something here for sure. And I think if people are interested in that, they should let us know.
Okay. This is my favorite idea so far for
I love this idea. This is great.
Okay. All right.
Well, too bad we found it on the last episode.
Well, this is good.
Oh, this is hopeful. This is like, hey, this is the season finale.
This is like, wait
until next season.
This was worth the journey.
Yeah. Wow. It really is. It really is about the friends you make along the way and the ideas that you get at the very end of a podcast that make the whole thing worthwhile.
Let's see. Steven is a lot lower on the season, only saying Natalie is a good winner, and then said that the bad gameplay and the unlikable cast brought it down.
All to say that list was written before this season aired, and for sure Natalie's making that top 10 in that list. And also,
I think it was probably written before Cagayan.
It was. I think that March 14th is when it comes out. So
it was like 4 weeks into Cagayan. Yeah.
And at that point, like Tony looked like this was going to be like a 6th person voted.
All right. Rob said they weren't going to bring anybody back other than Jeremy or Natalie. Got that one wrong.
Got him wrong.
Got that one wrong. Kelly and Keith. Big, you know. So not all my takes were great.
The ones they've brought back, stars, right? Every single one of them that they brought back went deep the next time that they played. Even if Natalie went home first, she didn't go home, and she came back. Natalie, she went she fully 20'd herself. The way that Nadia's first, Natalie's last in San Juan del Sur, and then Natalie is the Nadia surrogate, and then gets to Final Tribal at the end of it. It's an incredible arc.
couple other things. Rob said in regards to season 30, I'm pumped anytime we get to see 3 tribes. Josh adds unironically, look, they can't all be winners. Natalie, in my exit interview, makes a sticky situation reference. Rob asked if she knew she was going to win. She said, I knew I had that ish in the bag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie's so confident. Like, how
Baylor,
we should all figure out a way to be so confident. It's incredible.
Baylor also said, shut your mouth, homie G.
Of course you did.
Mm-hmm. So she was a good sport.
They were hanging out. San Juan del Sur was a fun season. I think people were interacting in a fun way. And we weren't like exactly pulling punches along the way either. So it's just like a good back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Did Missy recognize that she was known as Muffin?
Yeah. No, I'm looking at what Danielle wrote up. Rob asked Missy if she would send Reed a Christmas card. She would not send Reed a Christmas card. She thinks there's someone in his life that he has a relationship that was triggered by however Missy was out there, and he needs to fix that.
Wow.
She says that he's full of spite, but she's sure he's a good person.
Okay. Bless your heart is basically the TLDR on that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then...
Did you ever get on Missy's Christmas card list?
No, I never got a Christmas card from Missy.
It's unfortunate.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe someday it'll just show up.
It'll just show up. Okay.
Yep.
Josh, there you go. That's Survivor San Juan del Sur. We did it.
What did we learn?
By the way, also, I just want to say after all of this, I did we did our sleepover podcast with Tony following Cagayan, but then we had a great postseason interview with Natalie Anderson. I think it was like over 2 hours, lots of laughs, a lot of really. That's where the deep dive I think was born. Going through her whole game, and Natalie was a great friend of the podcast and was on a lot in this era. Yeah.
What does Natalie keep up with the show? Do we know?
I think she was recently in Survivor 45 was Instagramming up a storm over Kyle winning immunity, and she said that he was screenshotting. She was saying when he balanced the thing on his maybe she's triggered against people that win these ball challenges that she said that he had the plate on his forearm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I just feel like that there's a lot of people that watch these challenges now. Yeah. I think Jeff would have called it out if there was a real problem.
Like a literal plate that he was hiding, or a plate on some sort of metal plate.
No, arm? It was that he had the circular thing that he was balancing the billiard balls on.
Yeah, there's no way that's good. Rachel couldn't even grab a fistful of rice.
Yep. Okay. Josh, you and I have been talking about what do we do next?
Yeah.
What do we but I don't get the sense that there's a ton of momentum for us to go back and revisit Worlds Apart.
That's the thing. I think that there's so much I think the feelings on San Juan del Sur are so overwhelmingly positive and good vibey, and I don't know if 10 years later that's how it feels towards Worlds Apart. I know that the people who love that season really stand by it.
You better relax, bro.
I haven't gone back. I told this on the podcast not terribly long ago that sometimes I'll just try to do the mental exercise of can I remember everybody on this season of Survivor? And I got hung up on Rodney of all people was the one that I couldn't summon Rodney.
Close your mouth, open your ears, and just watch what happens.
Took a long time to get there. I think that the absolute worst thing that I could do for my mental health is to podcast about that season and have the Worlds Apart alum in my inbox.
God.
Well, actuallying me. I want absolutely nothing to do with that energy at all.
Okay.
And I feel like
All right,
that's how it would go down.
We're talking about some other things. We have some ideas that we'll
got some
still
really fun
continue
ideas,
to
I
talk
think.
about. We have some fun ideas. Okay. But I don't
But
think we want to continue.
I like this spot. I think the Survivor time machine is really fun to like activate while a season is on, actually. Like, I think like the ways in which these things, like the way in which this finale of San Juan del Sur is so wildly different from what we're getting, like a 4-hour
we haven't really talked about any sort of like parallels in Survivor 47 and then also the week that was in Survivor San Juan del Sur. I have been making the comparison that Rachel's game to this point is like weirdly similar to Mike Holloway, Josh, speaking of Worlds Apart.
Interesting, except that like Mike, I mean, I guess this would be why I would watch Worlds Apart. Like, how in on the the actualization of like votes changing was Mike? You know, like I feel like with Rachel, I just feel like Rachel's had like more command than Mike did, but she also has to grit it out in order to win. Which is what Mike had to do. That's interesting. I have to think about that a little bit.
Yeah. But they're very different players in terms of like type and approach, but like it's been a similar journey for the two of them. That being said, okay, anything else from how like the final 6 and final 5 ended up going down?
No, I thought it was interesting to think about what Fire could have looked like. That could have been Keith Nail's moment. Keith Nail could have beasted Fire for sure. I think if Final Fire, like the Final 4 Fire making is in here, I think Keith maybe wins Survivor San Juan del Sur.
Okay.
But that's not what happens.
Yeah. And Sue has had like a mom and daughter relationship with a few of the different players this season.
Yeah, but like much more of
like a Missy and Baylor relationship with maybe is that what Kyle said about Sue and Caroline that they told Rome of like he said that they're like Missy and Baylor.
Yeah, they're like evil stepsisters, you know. Like I think like there's been some wicked.
You don't call me Tweedledee or my kid Tweedledee Dum.
That's my Tweedledee. I think there's something there. I think that more I guess like going into the final 4 of this, it's not dissimilar to the final 4 of San Juan del Sur in that there's like only 2 serious win candidates right now. I think. It was really going to be Natalie or Keith probably, and here it feels like it can only be Rachel or Sam. So at least that's how I'm seeing it right now.
San Juan del Sur.
San Juan del Sur. I mean, that could be your biggest, if you're trying to see is San Juan del Sur predicting the future, then if Sam wins and this becomes San Juan del Sur, you will know that we actually do have a time machine and we timed all of this immaculately, like those ribs in Woo's mouth.
Okay. All right. Well, Josh, well done.
This is great.
What a fun
I had
ride.
So much fun.
I mean, the fall went by quick and this went by very quick also, this whole run through this.
I agree. It was great. It was very fun. This is the longest stretch of Survivor conversation I've had in forever. And it was wonderful. I had a blast. It was really fun to do every week. Great season.
All right.
Holds up.
Josh, what else is going on for you?
Lots going on over at WeKnowScriptedTV.com, the scripted wing of RHAP. We've got recaps of Silo, the Apple TV Plus show. That's like a deep dive mystery boxy show. Mike Bloom and Grace Leader are covering that. Have you checked out Silo, Rob?
No.
You haven't gone down into the Silo?
No. Should I?
I think you're all right. I don't think it's going to be your show. But then again, you love For All Mankind. I think you might like
Is it like For All Mankind?
Well, I think
was there no For All Mankind in 2024? I was thinking back. I feel like it was like around Christmas time. I remember watching the finale last year.
Yeah, I don't believe we got any For All Mankind this year. It's coming back.
We're going to catch up to where they are, I think.
Yeah, I think it's getting close. But you love an Apple TV drama, so I think you could enjoy Silo.
I'm looking at the poster for Silo. I have no idea what it's about, but this is what it looks like.
Yep, let me see it.
So let me see if I could just like guess at what Silo is.
Yes,
so
okay.
I see a woman is in a spacesuit.
Okay,
and is that an alien planet? It looks like there's like some dead corpses. So what is there? Has there been some sort of like Armageddon and there's some sort of like fallout going on in the background? Am I close?
I mean, like basically, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for a little bit of a pick-me-up.
It's a surprisingly funny show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's actually not. It's like it's played very straight for drama, and it's very twisty and turny. And
Bleak.
Mike and Grace are all over it.
Yeah.
But other shows from Apple TV Plus, Severance is coming back. The Doctors and I are checking in on Severance with a season 1 speed run right now, on the way to the Jan 17th return of Severance. I think next year is going to have a lot of really fun stuff in the scripted realm, Rob, including the fact that we referenced him earlier. But The White Lotus is coming back. We have a date. February 16th is the return of The White Lotus. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
The Wild Lotus.
Yeah. Now that's a prestige drama I could get into.
I think so. I would love to talk about The White Lotus with you when it comes back in a couple of
that'd be
months.
fun.
Yeah, that could be really fun. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that, folks.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that if enough people subscribe to We Know Scripted TV.
WeKnowScriptedTV.com. Hit subscribe. Tell a friend. Pass the word along. And come along for the party. We're having a really good time. Weekend program, tastemakers, all sorts of stuff. Really good time.
Okay, now that's how you do it on RHAP. What do you think about that for merch?
I like that. I like that for us 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about for now? Now that's how you do it on RHAP?
I mean, I would like it, but like, does anyone know what's going on with it?
I don't know. What does the chat think? Would anybody want that merch?
I don't know.
What should it be?
I think we've put them to sleep with like the serene story of how Natalie Anderson
they like this.
Yeah, they like it.
The people that are an hour and 30 minutes into this are the people that like this.
Was this like their favorite podcast, do you think?
We're playing in the back of the room now. Everybody in the front of the room is gone.
Perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Yeah, these are our people. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Look, this one fan would like it.
Yeah, one fan would like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get it. I'll show it off. It'll be a good time.
Okay.
Rob, what do you got going on this week? Anything?
I got a big Survivor finale coming up. Got a fun podcast coming up after the finale. I'll be talking with Adam Klein. It's been a minute since I talked to him on the podcast, and we'll see what he thinks as we crown the newest Survivor winner. Plus, we'll have our final 4 exit interviews coming up on Thursday, and then Stephen Fishback can weigh in and tell us if it was a good finale or not.
Yeah. What do you think he's going to say? Higher on this than San Juan del Sur, you think?
I don't know. Maybe after playing with Jeremy, maybe he has a little bit more reverence for San Juan del Sur.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Let us know, even if you're not watching us live, we love to read what you have to say in the comments. It helps us make decisions around here. So don't be shy with how you're feeling about the shows, right?
And how about this is a 10-year ago classic? If you've finished listening to this series, hit us on social media with the hashtag Stan Juan del Sur. How about that, Rob?
All right.
A Coca-Cola classic throwback.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.